Alright guys, welcome back to another Fan Film Rewind. Today, we're going to look at rip-off YouTubers, because that's kind of a fan film, I suppose. Our first subject up for review is Nostalgia Kid.
Here it is, the final movie in our Scooby-Doo live-action marathon, Daphne and Velma. Could this be even worse than Curse of the Lake Monster? The torture finally comes to an end. But the torture is all mine.
So Aidan, describe Nostalgia Kid.
Nostalgia Kid is like the horrible offspring of Doug Walker and Linkara. His thing is basically the Nostalgia Critic, where he just plays scenes and then makes bad jokes over them.
And it's here when I realized they didn't even try to make Velma look like Velma, because clearly, she's Mario. Hello, it's me, Velma. I'm gonna solve this mystery! Woohoo!
Except, much like Linkara, he does it on his couch. He's got the same shot composition as Linkara. He's got a fedora. Much like Douglas Walker, he sticks in pedophile jokes.
Yeah, he had his pedophile joke in there.
And we watched his review of Daphne and Velma, which is from just under a year ago. Seems. Normally he uploads on Vimeo for some reason. I don't know why.
I think he uploads on Vimeo to try to get around copyright, but if he did it as a review, most of these would probably slide. Although Viacom's kind of bitches about it and they'll just deny your claim anyways, and there's nothing you can do about it if you're a small YouTuber.
He also seems to run like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 stream thing called like Marky's Movie Night or some crap. That, I don't know. The Nostalgia Kid's not funny. He takes a lot of inspiration from the Nostalgia Critic, specifically the really ancient Nostalgia Critics, where it was just Doug in front of a camera and a white wall.
Well, what I will say about Nostalgia Kid that's different from Nostalgia Critic is that Nostalgia Kid tends to not lean on skits as much, at least in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any.
He has a part where the other animated live action adaptations of animated properties comes to him and tells him he's going to have to review them eventually or something. But he does a decent job of not over-skitting it, which I feel like... I don't know if that's self-awareness that can lead to a lot of cringe, or if it's a lack of people that work with him.
It's probably
Seems like this guy...
Lack of help. I'm pretty sure if he could, he would.
Probably. But yeah, this is definitely in line with what you'd expect to see from Channel Awesome, circa 2009. It's almost kind of an interesting, like, look back, as it's like archaic content you really wouldn't expect to see today. Yeah. I guess I would compare him a lot to like the Irate Gamer to Doug's Nostalgia Critic, where Irate Gamer is a ripoff of AVGN.
Yeah, Nostalgia Kid could have been one of the thousands of Nostalgia Critic cronies back in the day. All those people like Doug who were just on Channel Awesome, like fucking Nostalgia Chick and fucking Film Brain and crap.
I mean, his channel seems to be only like 2 years old, so I would say that's kind of when Channel Awesome as a collaborative work started to fade down, as Doug kind of just said, well, I'm just going to work on my own stuff.
I'm saying, if he existed in that time period,
so
I could have seen him as one of Doug's cronies.
Oh, easily. I do think he's very, he's obviously very similar, as you said, to like Linkara and Doug, in that his review setup is basically Linkara's, but he obviously makes fun of movies. Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of the stylings of Doug. He kind of does like Doug style reviews with the Linkara type outfit and persona. The biggest problem I see with Nostalgia Kid's content, just watching from the outside, is he does have points where his mic, I don't know if it's how he speaks into the mic, how he levels the sound or what, but there's parts where it's completely inaudible what he's saying.
Yeah, there are a couple parts like that.
For the most part, his recording sounds fine. So that's kind of the confusing part is I'm guessing he kind of just mumbles for a second. To go with that, he has some awkward moments of grammar. But mostly the production value for what it is captures the Nostalgia Critic channel awesome style fairly accurately.
The biggest problem is that his content is, even though it's only 2 years old and still going, it's dated. I mean, Doug has completely moved away from this style at this point, and pretty much everyone else has, where he's just making quips into a microphone over footage from a movie.
Right.
That's all it is. And
I would say that's true. He also has some like AVGN stylings in there, how he kind of like talks about the movies, which is interesting. But I would say, well, he has kind of like the Doug. I mean, yeah, that is the issue. Like, Doug would be something that's very hard to scale if Doug didn't already have a subscriber base and come out at a time when that was fresh and considered a nice style. Like, if Doug started today, he definitely wouldn't be that big.
Yeah.
And then compound that with, you know, YouTube's issues of not being able to actually post on YouTube. He has to kind of like get subscribers on his Vimeo, or not Vimeo. He has to get his subscribers on his Vimeo, then have them like transition over, and some episodes are here, most of the episodes are there. Kind of leads to a problem where he can't really scale this. If it was Channel Awesome era, I'm almost positive he probably would be signed to Channel Awesome. Or at least he could pull more of like an Irate Gamer type of thing.
Also, the name is a bit on the nose with Nostalgia Kid.
Yeah, Nostalgia Kid's a little too close. Also, he uses episode in his titles, which that's a horrible idea these days. You shouldn't even. I mean, like even like us putting our review name, like our series names in the title, is truthfully a terrible idea. Because the best way to get away with this shit now is like Daphne and Velma, as bad as it seems, or something like that.
Kind of style.
I mean, I don't really care that much, but like Nostalgia Kid episode 91 is what you see from the preview, and then maybe Daphne and Velma. But it's not something, if you see it in recommendations, you're really gonna have a good idea of what it is. A lot of people are passing through recommendations so fast, you're gonna see that and just be like, okay, you see Nostalgia Kid episode 91.
As well as his thumbnails kind of have the problem where he'll just like take a random screen cap from the video and then just put text over it, which doesn't make them any more appealing.
I mean, Doug doing his shit full time now and like having an actual crew behind it means Doug always has fairly solid, consistent thumbnails. I mean, that wasn't always the case, especially when he was doing Blip TV too, because if you look at like our season 6 review, a lot of those episodes have like the awkward black bar, because I guess, I don't know, YouTube's thumbnail style is 1280 by 720, which is a pretty traditional video output aspect ratio.
Yeah, and Doug would just make them whatever size and they'd get straddled with the black bars.
Right, he would do the blip size, because obviously blip was the way to go back in the day for something like this. I feel like if Nostalgia Kid had more exposure, he could post full videos on YouTube. That's another thing that makes these heavily footage-based channels not survive, and why half of our videos we just use fucking like pictures to show, because it's kind of a gamble. A lot of movies, if you use like minimal clips, you're good, and some studios will let you actually fight it. Like, for example, whenever I've made a Scooby-Doo video or something, Warner Brothers will usually be like, oh, it's a review, and then just let it through without questioning it. I mean, they could still dispute it and strike me eventually. Not strike, but block my video eventually, but
yeah,
that's definitely an issue Nostalgia Kid seems to run into.
Yeah, so overall, Nostalgia Kid is, I I mean, I didn't like it. It wasn't very good. It's a dated style.
In fairness, our main series since coronavirus has started is a series, Roasting Doug. So, I mean, looking up his ripoff is pretty unfair disadvantage to the guy. But I suppose if you like Doug and Channel Awesome, it's alright. So on to our next ripoff. Next we're going to look at the Irate Gamer. Because I guess we're just going to look at archaic YouTube ripoff, reviewing archaic ripoff styles that were popular.
Yep, that's what
let's
we're gonna do.
Let's do it.
Alright, so we moved on to our second knockoff reviewer of the night. Some know him as Chris Bores, others as Chris Neo, some as Puppet Steve Toy Reviews, but most know him as the Irate Gamer. Connor, tell us about the legendary Irate Gamer.
You want to be plated with gold? Fine! We'll just try a golden shower on for size.
The Irate Gamer is a gaming YouTube channel from 2007 that basically ripped off AVGN pretty much verbatim. He made these Irate Gamer videos. He was basically, if you were around on YouTube in this time period, you knew who the fucking Irate Gamer was. YouTube shilled the shit out of the Irate Gamer. James was a little too rated R for YouTube standards at the time.
Yeah, plus James had his channel deleted for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean...
That's when the Irate Gamer took hold, but he would vehemently deny that he was a fucking knockoff for years.
For the longest time, he would deny he was a knockoff of AVGN. It was a big thing where AVGN wouldn't acknowledge him because, I mean, why would he? He's going to give him more press where he's like, this guy just copies me exactly. And more kids would follow him, even though, you know, kids just followed him in the first place because he was an AVGN ripoff.
The first YouTube beef.
It was an unspoken beef, and fans would always complain about this contest of game reviewers, and people would be like, well, Irate Gamer came out first, which wasn't true. James's original review, AVGN reviews, outdate YouTube even. They're from like 2003. But that was the hot gamer beef back in the day. Irate Gamer recently made his first episode in 5 years, which was Ghostbusters Nes, starring Ernie Hudson. And apparently it was announced 1 week ago that he's going to be doing a new episode crossing over with the AVGN. So
it only took him 13 years.
Yeah, but he started saying inspired by AVGN in the titles and stuff, so I assume when he made his Ghostbusters NES review, he was already in talks, because it's like AVGN searching for other game reviewers. Which I think is a pretty generous title, because it was basically like rip-offs of AVGN. He had like Spoonie, Irate Gamer, other rip-offs of AVGN that are no longer relevant. I think the big meme about Irate Gamer is that he basically quit being Irate Gamer because he was bullied so hard and just refused to acknowledge he was a ripoff, and now he's like, fuck it, I'm a ripoff of AVGN. I always have been.
Yeah, so we watched 2 episodes, well, we watched 1.5. We watched an Ancient Ninja Turtles review, which was, he was really hamming it up on his James impression.
Fuck! I hate this game!
Yeah.
Very hard, and some of his jokes made no sense. Like, at the end of the video, a barrel rolls past him, like a pixel barrel, and he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna go play some Donkey Kong, and then he just, like, badly edits himself into Donkey Kong. He's like, dun, 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 and then it just immediately cuts to credits.
Well, I gotta get going. I gotta play me some Donkey Kong.
The weird thing about it was it seemed like he was like mid-sentence kind of, like he didn't know how to end the video or do like an outro. So instead of just being like, this game is shit, and then doing his little, I don't know, destroy the game, even if he just fakes it where he like shoots it with the NES zapper, then does a little explosion effect and that's it, like James would do for half his fucking videos. I guess he couldn't figure that out, so a barrel just rolls past him and he says,
Well, no, he
I'm
did.
in Donkey Kong now, look at me!
He broke the first game, which was also the one that James reviewed before him and talked about all the same things. He was like, oh, there's this electric seaweed, and you can stand on the box and hit the boss with the stick.
Right, I mean, a lot of his reviews were
He
pretty
blew that one
blatant
up, and then the
rip-offs.
other two, he was just like, I don't know. And then he talked about the fourth one. He's like, it's a pretty good game. I'm going to play Donkey Kong. Dun, dun, dun. But the new one was way funnier.
See, yeah,
The new one is a cinematic masterpiece.
it's very bizarre.
We didn't finish the new one, but basically the premise is that for the entire 5 years that he didn't make an Irate Gamer video, he was playing Zelda 2, and it took him 5 straight years.
This game can't be that hard, right?
Then he gets up, puts Zelda 2 on the floor, and starts pissing on it. On his own floor.
Right.
And then,
He's like, hey, I'm just trying to take a piss here. And then Ernie Hudson
and then,
calls
no,
him.
then the Ghostbusters NES game starts flying around. A PNG
yeah.
of the Ghostbusters NES game flies around and starts whacking him.
What the hell? I'm not reviewing you. Get away from me. Come on, I just want to take a leak. Get away from me.
And then he gets a call from Ernie Hudson, and he paid Ernie Hudson like $80 on Cameo or something to say 2 lines. And Ernie Hudson's like, hello there, Irate Gamer.
Holding it in vertical
It's
view,
me.
too.
It's vertical, and it's just like awkwardly stuck there. And he's like, hello, Irate Gamer. I would like you to play Ghostbusters on NES.
Hey, Irate Gamer. This is Ernie Hudson, Winston Zedmore from, Ghostbusters, Oz, Anoraks of Cradle, just in a few film and TV shows.
Whoa, what? Ernie Hudson? What are you doing to my show?
I just want to ask you this. Can you play the Ghostbuster game?
Ernie Hudson's not in the video anymore.
I like
He's in
how
the title
Ernie
and
Hudson,
thumbnail.
yeah, Ernie Hudson's in the thumbnail, like Ernie Hudson reviews it along with him, but clearly it was just a cameo. That's what we should start doing, dude. We should just start chilling out to get people to cameo.
Famous cameos.
Really, it's like
Just like in the middle of our drunk view, we're like,
it's like Charlie Sheen needed some crack, and then he'll just be like, "This movie is bad." Vertical view. Yeah, dude, I'm down. Let's do it. That's the new shill.
we gotta
Throw 'em
find
in the
people we
thumbnail.
can afford though, like fucking, I don't know.
Isn't that the most irate gamer thing ever, though? To just pay someone on Cameo to make a cameo in your video so you can toss them in the thumbnail?
James had Macaulay Culkin and fucking Lloyd Kaufman and all these other people, and Irate Gamer got paid
Well, he had Ernie Hudson, dude. He had the big star of
Paid.
Ghostbusters, but
for a vertical 30, not even 30 seconds, like 15 seconds.
in fairness, Macaulay Culkin, if fucking Irate Gamer asked nicely, would probably come out and show up in his video.
He probably
real.
would.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't really know why Irate Gamer is a thing again, truthfully.
It's because
Being
James
that-
reached out to him and he was like, okay.
No, what I'm
James's
guessing
production
is...
company.
I'm guessing he, reached out to James's production company and was like, hey,
This could
I'll
be a
finally
big deal.
start admitting that I'm an AVGN ripoff if I can pay you guys $10,000 to show up in my video for 5 minutes. I mean, he makes his money now through his Steve's Toys reviews, so he probably makes enough dummy money he can just throw it away to get an AVGN cameo.
Yeah.
Basically, he's a blatant AVGN clone who denied it for years. That's where we're at with Chris Neo, the Irate Gamer. He's finally back after 4 or 5 years of being gone because he got bullied out of doing his Irate Gamer series. And I guess he's going to do it as a hobby because it's not going to get him 90,000 views a day or whatever. Like his newest Irate Gamer video has less views than his last toy review that came out yesterday.
Not even yesterday, it was like 11 hours ago.
Right.
Why did he ever go back to Irate Gamer?
Hobby, dude. He's probably sick of pandering, dude. He needs to get back to
Pandering to literal children. With a
His AVGN
Minecraft
ripoff
Steve
is
puppet.
the nostalgic old days. Not even Ernie Hudson could get him as many views as him just reviewing
Not a
FAF toys or whatever.
Not a controversial take, but Irate Gamer's pretty bad. Although I did think both videos were hilarious. Not in the ways that I'm sure Chris Neo intended, but
No, certainly not.
but I thought they were funny. They were awkward. I just wish that we had gotten one that had his little Maple Story character, whatever the fuck it is.
Right, Maple with Mike or whatever. Maple Story Mike.
That's what's funny. Yeah.
Uh,
So anyway, our third video for tonight is whatever we end up putting here.
I don't think we can find a third YouTube ripoff, but I don't know
We
if I
can't
want a
think.
third.
We can't.
The
think
only
of
reason
another
we
one.
brought up Irate Gamer is because we were talking about Nostalgia Kid. It seemed like a cute idea to do Nostalgia Kid, and well, now we have to talk about Irate Gamer, so
Yep, and the third one will be
a fan film,
something else, whatever the fuck we find.
whatever we find. All right, everybody, with my most sincere apologies, I present to you our final fan film of the night. Only fan film. The rest have been rip-off YouTube channels. We couldn't think of what to do, so we decided upon a video Aidan and I made almost 11 years ago called Moon Knight, The Bold and the Brave, The Rise of Iron Man.
Shh, this is for the aliens. I'm gonna beat you up for enslaving the aliens.
So Aidan, what's the plot of Moon Knight, The Bold and the Brave, The Rise of Iron Man?
Well, it's a rip-off of Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Moon Knight meets Iron Man. There's no real explanation for it. And then they fly and start punching a comet, meteor thing, that's about to crash into the Earth. And they're teleported away and they fight some pink dude named Morpheus. And Morpheus gets the Iron Man suit and starts running around in it. Moon Knight learns that the aliens explode when they're eaten because he fights a giant space worm. And so he vores an alien into the purple guy.
Oh yeah, take this. How do you like it if I take your helmet off? Oh yeah, eat this. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And the purple guy explodes and Moon Knight flies back to Earth, even though Moon Knight doesn't have the ability to fly and leaves Iron Man behind. Yep. What did you think of this?
Oh, it was really bad. This is our first video we ever made. I have a vague recollection of making this video.
I didn't realize
Half
how
my
bad it
life
would be.
ago. I've lived half my life. I've had plenty of experiences to explain to me why this wasn't okay. What I did a really bad thing and made this video. Much like Invader Zim, this runs at about, well, it runs at about 1 frame every 10 seconds, approximately.
Yeah, a bunch of badly...
Actually, I think it was 8 seconds because we made it in Windows Movie Maker.
And the default was 8, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know how to trim clips yet, so it was every frame had 8 seconds of time to.
Every MS Paint drawing goes for 8 seconds, where a bunch of talking happens, but also we recorded the whole thing in one take, so there's breathing, and we play YouTube audio.
Yeah.
YouTube audio, including the fucking. The entirety of the That 70 Show.
You played That 70 Show theme
Cut
song
together with
clips from the
screenshots
nanny.
of the nanny theme song.
We were big into those sitcoms on Nick at Night. I remember how we recorded those is we had our computer speakers and we put our mic directly, literally touching the speakers, and we just turned it up and played it.
Oh yeah,
and you could hear us hysterically laughing in the background.
There's constant audio cracking.
I don't know if YouTube MP3 was a thing back then. If it was, we didn't know. Also, in the theme song, we splice in a bunch of clips from YouTube. It's all just print screen.
Yeah, we were print
action.
screening clips from the Batman Brave and the Bold theme song.
And the nanny theme song.
And two of them that we managed to stick in there had like the exit full screen warning message in the middle. And one of them had the progress bar, and it's like the ancient progress bar where it's all gray and has the red bar.
The circle with the little red dot in the middle. Yeah, this was classic YouTube. I'm pretty sure when this came out, we got like 2 or 3 friends out of it on YouTube. It's that fucking old.
We had 5 likes and 27 dislikes, now 28.
27 very much deserved dislikes. Iron Man varies how in design.
Well, the joke was, in this one, whenever he's outside of his armor, he's a fucking manlet.
Right.
Which,
you know,
loops around to being funny now that we know in real life. You know, when you're a kid, you don't think about how tall Robert Downey Jr. is, but in real life, he's like 5'3". That makes it funny, you know?
So
it's a funny gag, potentially, not intentional. On our part, we didn't know that. But.
Right. There was a lot of like irony humor where we jab at our own terrible animation. At the time, I remember the irony wasn't trying to like loop around and avoid criticism. As far as I remember, we just thought the animation was bad. It could have been a self-conscious thing.
You can tell we were inspired by that fucking ancient Pokemon animation. Like, I can just smell it on this, and that makes me cringe too. You don't remember that fucking Pokemon animation that was like, we thought was super cool back then?
No.
Where they're all like stick figures, and Ash catches Misty, and Brock wants to breed his Pokemon.
Hey! Oh, sorry. I'm Misty. Okay.
Oh, shit.
It reminds me of that, but
so we ripped that off. So it is a YouTube ripoff, dude. It loops around. It is a YouTube ripoff, dude. We were YouTube ripoffs. I was gonna say we kind of were doing like a. We were like, dude. You could say the Odd Ones Out ripped us off. You could say that we were influenced. We were pioneers in bringing, because animation existed on Newgrounds before this. But how much animation? Dude, this was probably within the first 100,000. 2 million. This was probably within the first 2 million animated videos on YouTube.
I can't believe it says 7,500 views.
That's a lot. That's a big number to look at when you consider how much shame and cringe just come out of this. The fact that it's so old and no one's ever gonna find it again brings me a lot of joy. I mean, now I guess we'll have a few more viewers. You guys can go out to look up Moon Knight, the Bold and the Brave, Rise of Iron Man. There's a few videos on this channel. Everything was privated for a while. I unprivated a handful of videos. When I was trying to make fun of them, watch them. I much like Chris Neo, as a child, became a toy reviewer. I reviewed toys. My camera has a distinctive buzzing sound the whole time because it was just like a $25 camera my grandma bought me that had video capabilities. So I ran with it, dude. If you want to see some classic YouTube, you might even get a request from me to add me as a friend.
You can even see the comments where it didn't have the chain commenting. And so it would just be like at and a bunch of like...
You had to at people back in the day.
You look at the comments section, it's
well,
like
what would happen is it wasn't chain
you.
You could click reply.
Yeah.
But what it would do is it would just say at whoever. And then it would notify them. But you could also DM back in the day on YouTube. There's a lot of like decent features they got rid of. Friends were annoying because people would just mass friend you and hope you would
just
like
do
look at their
friend collecting
channel.
and shit.
Because I remember like at the time I had like 2,000 friends and like 5 subscribers or some ridiculous shit.
It's a different time.
It was a very different time on YouTube. A lot of people wanted to be my friend, but people didn't want to keep up with my Moon Knight, the Bold and the Brave series, which never continued. Thank fucking God there's not more than one episode of this. Thank God for a lack of attention span as a child.
Yeah, imagine if we actually went through with the idea we had of remaking every episode as a terrible Moon Knight parody with MS Paint animation.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to be very epic in this. We copied the plot of we remade the first episode of Batman Bold and the Brave beat for beat, but without exposition, so it makes absolutely no fucking sense. Because you literally sit there and you're like,
we cut out all the boring shit.
We're like, let's cut out the boring shit. So you just have like Iron Man and fucking Moon Knight meet up. Then all of a sudden they're on an alien world. The aliens are epic because they always do the robot, dude.
The opening is the most awkward part because before the awkward nanny thing, I assume what happens in the first episode of Brave and the Bold is that he's tied up with Green Arrow.
Yeah.
I replaced Green Arrow with Hawkeye really awkwardly, and it's like 12 seconds long maybe, with just like, 2 pictures.
Right.
And the whole thing.
Well, no, it's a few pictures because Hawkeye shoots his arrow and it takes like a full minute and a half for it to fly across the screen.
Although, maybe he should warn me before he fires arrows.
It's so awkward, there's no explanation, and then it just starts playing.
I want to point out that Hawkeye was featured in our video before he was in the MCU, so Kevin Feige, I expect a royalty check, even though we had no legal right to put Hawkeye in this, but we beat the MCU to having Hawkeye, and that is something
beat the
I'm
MCU
proud of.
to its first major crossover.
Dude, 7,500 people who watched this video back in 2009 were acutely aware of Hawkeye before the MCU. It's great and popular.
How many of those 7,500 do you think are dead now? I mean, there's got to be at least
There's got to be a handful, yeah.
20, 30.
Somebody watched this video, then probably passed away afterwards.
You think he thought about it on his deathbed? He's like dying of cancer and he's hooked up to all the tubes and he's like, the last thing he remembers is Moon Knight movies and he just reaches up and pulls his own book.
That's his bizarre thought, but yes. As the aliens frequently kind of do the robot, like they sing the Mr. Roboto song.
Help me. Just freaking help me.
But the joke is that everyone wants them to shut up because they think the robot's annoying. We still did it. We still sang somebody sang the robot. I couldn't tell who actually did what part because both of our voices were like freakishly loud and at the time were like the same.
Yeah.
They were just high pitched. You could kind of tell sometimes when you'd hear like a squeakier voice, it was mine, and when it was deeper, it was Aidan's.
A lot of the times
for the most of the part, it's pretty indiscernible. It's so bad. It's a really bad video. I think I'm almost positive it was me, but
I'm pretty sure that was you.
Fly.
Cause I can fly like an eagle.
I think that was from I Wanna Fly Like an Eagle, the song, if I'm not mistaken. But I do brief performances. Musical numbers, dude. There's action. There's adventure. There's romance. There's all around a lot of cringe. So, now we've punched down at our childhood ambitions and dreams. This is when we went wrong, dude. Yeah. This should have been a red flag. I wish our parents saw this and said, like, look, if you guys go through with this,
join baseball or something.
Right,
fucking
but
weirdos.
Instead we'd go on to just be living in Dad's basement 11 years ago. I'm sitting not 15 feet away from where this masterpiece was made. Half my life has been burned away since this video's happened, and what have I achieved? Still making YouTube videos,
Better YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's fair to say that they're better. It's fair to say I haven't wasted my life away.
pretty much anything is better than this.
Right. I think literally unironically, even if you remove the fact that it's us looking at our own work we made 11 years ago, even if you remove that fact, I think anybody unanimously would see this video and just say this is one of the cringiest things I've ever seen. Like, I genuinely think the contents of this video rival, like, Eye of the Spider and SpongeBob style. They genuinely do. And I'm sure there's a lot more out there, dude. You know, there's, like, I'm sure there's probably shit kids do that are cringier out there, which brings me peace, but I don't know.
It's not entirely
know,
dissimilar to Eye of the Spider. I'm so glad I didn't grow up in the Minecraft generation. I would have made so much cringy
Oh my god,
shit.
you know Minecraft Steve would have been in this shit if Minecraft was a thing back then. Dude, you know if this shit was made 3 years later, Minecraft Steve would have been plastered.
The only difference between this video and
4 years later.
SpongeBob styles, it didn't blow up.
Right. Dude, let's post this in some cringe forums, bro. Let's see if people will start making fun of us.
It's an interesting tactic. Because then we could have the first review of it out.
Right, dude. We could get major views off our own back, bro. Spread this, dude. If you're watching this video, you have a full right to fucking humiliate us. And it's deserved. So you think about it right now, dude. We're just adding exposure, dude. Only 7,500 people have ever seen this video, and I think it deserves to be seen much more, dude. Our efforts from 11 years ago should not go into vain. Should not be in vain.
Well,
pretty sure this is from August
okay.
20. This video was made back when Irate Gamer was active. I mean, he's still active on YouTube, but I mean, like.
So, now for the part where we rank our fan
I don't know how
rip-off
we'll do
things.
that, but we'll try.
You know, yeah. So if I had to pick one of these to watch, I'd probably pick Irate Gamer because his videos are funny, not in the way he intends, but they're fucking funny. Nostalgia Kid is boring, and Moon Knight, the Bold and the Brave, Rise of Iron. I don't know why it's called Rise of Iron Man. He's barely in it.
It's
But,
because it was Rise of the Blue Beetle was the original episode, because I remember the first episode was
you're right.
Blue Beetle, and that's why we're like, oh, it's
You're
Iron
right.
Man.
Yeah, it's the worst one. It's painful.
It's hard to watch.
It's not good.
Bad.
Anyway, how would you rank these, Connor?
Truthfully, hot take, Moon Knight Bolt and the Brave on top. I'm just kidding, no. I would say Nostalgia Kid goes on top for me because I feel like if I had to watch one, like Irate Gamer's funny in the lens of he's such a blatant AVGN clone, and it was so funny back in the day when he would deny it up till like after he even made the videos still, he was still denying adamantly that he was a AVGN clone. But now that he just admits he's an AVGN clone, I mean, there's still funny shit. Like, you gotta have a lack of self-awareness to act like you got that legit Ernie Hudson cameo, but really you just paid him on Cameo, like, $120 to have him show up in your video for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
So I would say Nostalgia Kid, other than, like, some mic issues, he's basically the nostalgia critic. And I think it is the Stockholm Syndrome effect of Doug. But you also remove the skits. Would I watch Nostalgia Kid? Truthfully, no. Would I ever consider watching him? No. But is he the worst thing? He's basically just channel awesome fodder. Next is Irate Gamer. He does have, he's like a really sad AVGN. He's like AVGN meets Brendan Fraser or something, if that makes sense. Where he's a huge life cuck and it's just pathetic. But you also have the charm that he's a toy reviewer now. And the fact that he got Ernie Hudson's pretty impressive. Finally, Moon Knight Bold and the Brave is on the bottom because I genuinely think it rivals a lot of the cringy kid shit you'd see today. See, I could never do what like Pyrocynical does, where I'm like,
Kids on YouTube should never be allowed on YouTube.
I was a kid on YouTube. I did that. I was there. Look at me, dude. The dawn of YouTube, bro. There was a web URL purchased, and then there was Moon Knight, the Bold and the Brave, the Rise of Iron Man.
Yep.
And the cringe was born. So, yeah, that's a somber way to end. An embarrassing way to end.
Yep. So thanks for watching.
And
We have a Twitter if you want to follow. Connor just gets us banned. I get us banned.
I haven't gotten us banned yet. I've just been harassing people.